Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I take all the newest #1 comic books that I read for the comic book week and deem them worthy or not worthy. Guys, I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, if you love me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, because yes, they are pricey, and my opinion might help you, maybe you come to the right place, so consider hitting that subscribe button. So with that being said, guys, we only have a few comics to talk about this week on Worthy Ones, but I do have a contest for you, and I will tell you towards the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. Until then, let's get started. Power Rangers Academy Issue 1. Now, a lot of you guys already know I'm not the biggest Power Ranger fan. However, this is something completely different from your traditional Power Rangers comic. This is about a bunch of kids that go to an academy to aspire to be a Power Ranger one day, okay? Now, the artwork in this book is very, I don't know, cartoony, like something for a younger audience. That's the vibe that I got out of this comic book, and this could be the audience that they're going for, right? I mean, Power Rangers has been around at this point for a very long time, so they have a huge audience. So I like how this book does, I feel, gear to a younger audience. If you're an older Power Rangers fan, I don't know if this book will be for you. Now, this is about a 13-year-old. Her name is Sage, and she lives in this isolated community, right? And this book reminded me a lot of Star Wars, New Hope. It was like a carbon copy of it. It's like she's inspiring to be something, and her dad is holding her back. And we wind up finding out that the Power Ranger Academy kids had a starship that crash landed into a swamp, almost like, Empire Strikes Back, and the dad winds up fixing it. Well, the girl winds up kind of becoming a stowaway on the ship, and then they wind up arriving at Rangers Academy, and that's kind of like where it left off, right? So the book does a pretty good job at kind of exploring the characters and you getting to know the characters a little bit. But when I was reading this book, I found myself a little bit bored with it, and I just was not interested. So I'm gonna find this book not worthy. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad read. It's just not for me. I just felt, again, it was geared towards more a younger audience, and maybe that Power Ranger audience. Some people could find this very intriguing to see where this goes, but this is more of a comic that's really not for me. So I'm going to give this book a C+. There was definitely a story here. There's characters that you could get attached to in the future, but I just wanted something a little bit more, and I'll just pass. Ghost Rider Annual Issue 1. I've said this week in, week out, month after month. Ghost Rider is a story that you need to read. One of the best Marvel comics that Marvel is producing today, especially if you love horror books, right? This book is an annual. It's not really, I would say, necessary to read to understand what's going on in the mythos of Ghost Rider right now, but it is a fun read, and it gets you in the spirit of Halloween. Benjamin Percy writes this. Danny Kim does the artwork on this book. Really cool artwork. Also, Bloodstone was in this book, which I did not expect to see. All their facial expressions were really good. There were some cool, demon-like creatures in this book as well. Just every time I read it, every time I think, this is not going to be a great book, this is not going to be a fun book, how long can the momentum go on for? It delivers every single time, and even in an annual here, right? So our cast of characters, again, are Elsa Bloodstone. You got Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider. You got the Hood, who is Parker Robbins, and Talia Warroad, who is a new character introduced in this series that is basically Johnny Blaze's girlfriend that has supernatural abilities. And you learned about kind of her origin story in the last issue, okay? Now, this book is a book definitely celebrating Halloween, and we get Parker Robbins, obviously, aka the Hood, who returns. He's been gone since a Black Cat series a little while back, and he makes his return. He goes to this I don't know, supernatural bookstore, and he winds up getting this book. And what happens is he unleashes the spirit of Halloween, and it creates this crazy ass pumpkin here, and inside Halloween himself is growing, and all the demons are growing and whatnot. And so it's Talia and Johnny's and Elsa's job to go in there and stop this entity from coming out to destroying the world. What this comic is like how comics were when I read them when I was a kid. Just pure action, lots of fun, don't take it too seriously type of thing. Just kick-ass action, not an overly complex story, right? It's just a lot of fun with great action, great coloring, great artwork, and it's just a page turner, man. Like, you just get to see this all happening right in front of you, and I love when comics do this to me. And even though it was an annual, it didn't mean that much, and yeah, it was, you know, it was $4.99, but there was a higher page count on this book. I definitely gonna deem this book worthy. A lot of fun in a comic book week that had very little books. If there was a time that you would want to check out Ghost Rider and kind of what it's like, this is definitely the time to check it out. Don't pass this one up. Pick this one up. I'm going to give this one a B+. Marvel Gods Issue 1, written by... yes, Jonathan Hickman, and the artwork here is done by Valerio Schiti. The artwork is good. The facial expressions in these characters look great. Background effects, action scenes look good. It's very detailed. And yes, this book is $10, but you do get 64 pages of comic here. No Hickman graphs, none of that crazy stuff like that. Lots and lots of stories. So be ready to read. I say don't read anything else. Like, if this is the first thing that you read for the day, make it this title, because there is lots of story here and there's a lots that goes on, and you have no idea what is going to be the outcome of this whole thing when it's all done and over with. But it was a cool, like, first issue to all of this, right? There's a couple of like new characters. There's this one villain whose first appearance, his name is Cubix Core, and he's like the main bad guy here. Somehow he acquires the Living Tribunal's staff. So he has like this huge power, and he opens up this pit, and all these demons come out of it, and it's Doctor Strange and a whole bunch of other people that are in this comic that have to stop this thing, right? There's this one character by the name of Win who winds up finding like this lucky penny, and he trades it with the Collector, and then he trades it with something else and something else and something else, and it's just like, and it has to stop with this creature. And the way the story begins and the way it ends, it's like a movie, dude. It's crazy, right? So if you're willing to spend the $10, if you like Jonathan Hickman, I think you will like this story. Just take your time and read it, digest it, understand it. I liked it. I'm gonna deem this one worthy. A huge cast of characters in this comic book. Not all of them make a prominent role, but they do make their appearance. So if I had to grade this one, I'm gonna grade it a B. It could be long-winded at times, and you might be scratching your head going, what did I just read, and where's the next issue going to lead to? But I think this could be something pretty cool, guys. Transformers Issue 1. I've been waiting for this ever since Skybound acquired this, and we saw that first appearance of Jetfire and Void Rivals Issue 1. Now, what made the appeal also was Daniel Warren Johnson writing this comic book, right? And he is drawing in it. Now, I'll be honest, in the beginning, Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork didn't always appeal to me, but it grew on me in time. Like, I read Murder Falcon, and I really enjoyed that. Do a Power Bomb, right? Beta Ray Bill, he's done. And the good thing about his artwork is he has this distinctive style, and he also does a great job at just doing sound effects in comics, which you don't see that too often in comics anymore. I feel like it's a lost art, but it adds to the story, right? And when you see his artwork, it's a distinctive feel now, like, you know, it's his style. And so I really do appreciate the artwork at this time, and I give him credit for trying to draw Transformers. It's not an easy thing. When you think of Transformers, you pretty much think of, let's say, like IDW's Transformer drawings. Like, they're pretty cartoon accurate in many ways. But this does have, again, that distinctive feel to it. They do look like the characters. And I thought it was awesome, man. And I do love how Daniel Warren Johnson does pay tribute to some of his other comics. So, for instance, Optimus Prime is battling Starscream in this comic book, and he does a freaking suplex on him, right? So that's giving a nod over to good old do a power bomb in there. Also, there is a van in this comic book, which if you read Murder Falcon, there was also a van with this like crazy medieval airbrushed style of stuff on there. So he likes to pay homage to his own creative work. And then what you can also expect from a comic like this is you can also expect like great emotional beats in here as well. And the Transformers actually do have real emotions in here. And after reading this book, you can truly see that, okay? Now, you're obviously going to have a much more appreciation for this comic if you are a Transformers fan, but I do feel like it is a good jumping on point for a lot of readers because right from the start, it touches on Spike and Sparky, father and son, who have had a dramatic loss in their family. And that was very emotional, and it looks like we're going to get touched on that in the near future. In the meantime, we see Spike go hang out with his little girlfriend, Carly, who is also originally in the actual, not in the comics, but in the animated show back in the 80s as well. Well, they come across the Autobots in this comic book, and they don't know what to even expect. But what this book does so well is right away it connects from Void Rivals issue 1 where you saw Jetfire. He was asleep for 100 years and he winds up awaking, going back to the spaceship, which is known as Teletran 1. Now, while he's been asleep, he doesn't know that this big war has erupted between the Autobots and the Decepticons. Transformers were actually a species that worked together at one point to try to save their planet, Cybertron. So we wind up getting to see Jetfire resurrect his friend Starscream. Now Starscream is an evil Decepticon, okay, and he doesn't know that he's evil, and he sees him blowing up other people, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And they wind up fighting. And from there on out, you wind up seeing all shit hit the fan. Now, what I like about this comic book also, back in the day when I was a kid, there was an episode with Jetfire and Starscream when Jetfire was introduced on how Starscream and Jetfire used to be friends and how they were no longer friends. So that it's kind of playing a little bit of an homage to that particular episode. Really awesome episode, comic book here, as you get to see Optimus Prime get resurrected with only one other Autobot, okay? And that is Ratchet, who is the Autobot medic here. And they start doing a battle. The Decepticons get an upper hand, okay? So they drag some of their, I guess, their fellow Decepticons to in the area of where Teletran 1 is, I guess, you know, resurrecting the other types of Decepticons, and they got more people on their side. So what is Optimus Prime supposed to do in this particular instance? Comes up with a plan. Hey, I got this freaking big 18-wheeler trailer. Let's load up all my Autobot friends and let's roll on out of here. And it was just so cool seeing all these different types of things that I remember from my kid. You got from when I was a kid, you get Soundwave ejecting Ravage there, and just awesome action and just great stuff. And then we wind up seeing our young heroes, Spike and Carly, find out that they're picking a side and they're joining the Autobot side. Great artwork right here as they're escaping from the Autobots. And then you definitely get to see real, you know, Autobot emotion in this. You wind up seeing the loss of a particular Autobot. And then you get to see how evil and how much of an asshole Starscream really is. That character is such an idiot. Like, when you were a kid, you realized that he will do anything to be in charge of the Decepticons. And you're already seeing that here in the very first issue. Well, we find out that the Decepticons are in desperate need of Energon, right? That's their power source. And they go to the plant where Sparky is. Again, that's Spike's father, if you have never followed Transformers before. Well, you see Starscream actually come across one of Sparky's friends, and let's just say Starscream does something that you pretty much never have seen in a Transformers comic before. Extreme violence. So we're adding a whole new element to this Transformers book, right? Because hey, we got an independent comic book here. We can kind of push the envelope. And when I saw that last panel, I was like, holy crap, did we just go there? So I really love this book. This book is absolutely worthy. This was so much fun. I recommend this book, guys. Even if you're not a Transformers fan, try to jump on board. See if you might get attached to this. I tell you what, Daniel Warren Johnson does not disappoint. He knows how to give all characters emotion, even robots here. So check this one out and read the letters page in the back on what it was like for him to own Optimus Prime as a toy. That was so cool to see as well. And yeah, if I give this book a grade, of course it's going to be an A+. So I'm going to need your guys' help, and this is where the contest comes in. Transformers. G.I. Joe's getting ready to come out. Void Rivals, this shared Energon universe. I am going to do a series. When all these books come out for the month, I'm going to discuss them all at one time. Which ones I like the best. We're going to review them. We're going to talk about them. We're going to have a great conversation with it, okay? And I need a series name for it. And if I use that series name, you guys are going to win a prize. What that prize is, I'm not sure. I'll reveal it when I find that I have a solid name for this series. And what I'm going to do is I think I will reveal the name next week episode in Worthy Ones. So again, this is where I need your guys' help. Come up with a series name when it comes to all these, Energon shared universe titles. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. These books are too damn good for me not to talk about. And there's a lot of Transformers fans. If there's not a lot of Transformers fans, there's definitely a lot of G.I. Joe fans. And if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, then I know there's a lot of people reading Void Rivals. So there's going to be something there for everyone to talk about. Okay? So again, I'm looking forward to those names in the comment section below. And let's get started, and good luck to you. So there you have it, guys. Not a lot of new number ones that came out this week, but there was definitely some good ones. So I want to hear in the comments below, which were your favorite books this week? And guys, I'll leave you more content right here to check out. This is my newest comic book haul. And did you know that I'm actually having a garage sale in my community? So if you're local, I'd love for you to stop by, buy some comics super cheap. And of course, guys, as always, support those local shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but more importantly, always read your comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Thank you.